Northeast India is known for its beautiful landscapes, its unique, vibrant cultures, and its delicious food. But in recent years, it's also started to gain a reputation for something else as well, its startups. And so in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at each northeastern state to understand what they're doing to promote entrepreneurship and also which of their startups are on top right now. So just a heads up here before we get started, this list is going to be organized based on the Government of India's State Startup Ranking Report, which actually ranked each state in the country based on the performance of their startup ecosystem. So first up on our list, we have Sikkim, which isn't actually attached by border to the rest of Northeast India. Sikkim is home to one of Northeast India's most exciting startups. It's essentially an aggregator of talent, micro-entrepreneurship, and exciting Northeastern products. It's a marketplace for more than 350 small and medium-sized enterprises called NE Origins, and it was founded in Gangtok by Rewaj Chettri, a serial entrepreneur who got his start in 2012 with NE Taxi, a tourist taxi aggregator that's still in business to this day. Then in 2018, he founded the Entrepreneurs Hub of Sikkim to try and assist the local government in developing entrepreneurship in the state. And that same year, he became a 2018 Forbes Asia 30 Under 30 Fellow. Then, in May of 2020, in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic, Rewaj decided to build a platform to support local micro-entrepreneurs who are struggling to keep their businesses afloat amidst crumbling supply chains and pan-India lockdowns. This was the beginning of NE Origins, a startup that today is valued at $2 million after raising a pre-seed round back in April of 2022 from a number of angel investors, including former Indian footballer Baichung Bhutia. After Sikkim, we have our first Startup India ranked state, Mizoram, which is in the emerging startup ecosystem category. According to the Government of India, states in this category are on the path to developing their startup ecosystem, which is really exciting to see. The Mizoram government has taken some praiseworthy measures to support Mizo startups, including supporting founders who are building solutions to curb the spread of COVID-19, building a springboard for emerging and early-stage entrepreneurs, and providing strong incubation support to startups in the state. Thanks to these efforts, as of 2021, Mizoram had more than 100 registered startups, 2 incubators, 20 registered mentors, and 35 women-led startups. And most of the startup action that happens in Mizoram is in the capital city of Aizawl. Now, out of all of Mizoram's startups, the one that we were most impressed by here at Backstage with Millionaires is Mizrun. Mizrun is a startup that was founded in 2017 by co-founders Lalden Liana and Lalming Liana. Now, in the early days, Mizrun wanted to be the Zomato or Swiggy of Mizoram, offering food delivery in Aizawl. However, many of the restaurants and businesses that they started delivering food for had bigger problems than just getting food to customers. Many of these were traditional offline enterprises with little to no understanding of online sales and marketing, website and software development, or leveraging the internet to benefit their businesses. Upon discovering this huge opportunity, Mizrun expanded the scope of their offerings to become a 360-degree business solution for local Mizo MSMEs. Today, Mizrun has upwards of 500 clients and has recently started taking the profits that they're generating from Mizrun and using them to expand into other domains, like for example, poultry and eggs, which might sound a bit strange, but again, there's a huge untapped market opportunity here in standardizing this fragmented industry. In fact, a whopping 80% of Mizoram's chickens are actually imported from other states, so Mizrun's latest vertical, Miz Farm, wants to change that by introducing farmer training and certification along with software and IoT technology. Next up on the list, we have Tripura, which is our first state in the aspiring leader category. This category is reserved for states that are working towards identifying and formulating initiatives to provide support to their startups. And Tripura has been doing this by promoting the entrepreneurial spirit among students and also providing funding support to startups through the Tripura Startup Scheme. And thanks to these efforts, Tripura is home to some pretty impressive companies, including the startup that I want to talk about today, Fueler. So Fueler was founded in 2021 and is based in Tripura's capital city of Agartala. But rather than me telling you about Fueler, let me just show you. Here's my portfolio on Fueler, and let's just say that things don't work out with Backstage with Millionaires. I mean, I gotta make a living somehow, right? So lucky for me, I've done hundreds of thumbnails for this channel, and so here's my Fueler YouTube thumbnail bucket. I can send this out to prospective clients and show them what I'm capable of. And if they want to check to verify that this work is actually mine, all they need to do is click on this little proof button right here and they'll be taken directly to the video that my thumbnail is attached to. And that's actually Fueler's UVP, their unique value proposition. They are a proof of work platform, which as an employer myself is super useful because I don't have to worry as much about candidates who are making false claims and showing off work that isn't actually theirs. At the time of me filming this video, Fueler is a bootstrap startup, but they're planning to raise some external capital in the not too distant future, and will be using those funds to implement gamification, algorithms, video proof of work, and they also want to scale their platform to more than 100,000 users. After Tripura, we have another state in the aspiring leader category, Manipur. Manipur has established a government incubation center for entrepreneurship and skill development where they hold training workshops for budding startup founders. And back in 2019, Your Story wrote an article titled "Manipur is becoming the new startup playground of Northeast India." And today, there are a number of startups that are proving this to be true. You have IT companies like Neopath and Mobimp, health tech providers like Picasoid, Connect, and Medilane, tea brands like Dweller Teas and Forest Pick, and food delivery startups like Food Wi-Fi and Hummingbird. And almost all of these startups are based in Imphal, but the startup that I want to feature today is actually one of the few Manipuri startups that isn't headquartered in the state's capital city. Hill Wild is a D2C chocolate brand based in the town of Ukhrul. Now, Ukhrul itself has become something of a startup hotspot over the last couple of years, with Hill Wild being one of the first to pop up in 2017. And as the startup's name suggests, their products, which now include chocolate, honey, hot sauce, tea, spices, and dried fruits, are made using the wild flora that grow in the hills of Ukhrul. The startup works with 200 farmers to procure these ingredients, and in doing so are having a positive impact on the local economy. But they're not the only ones making waves in Ukhrul. For example, Handmade Cottage is a handmade crochet doll business. There's also Thapples Wine, a local plum wine brand. Hillsman is a tailored soup brand, and Secrets Cosmetics is an all-natural, toxin-free, eco-friendly skincare brand. Next up, we have another state in the aspiring leader category, and it's also a neighboring state to Manipur, Nagaland. The government of India has praised Nagaland's efforts in building programs for women entrepreneurs, and they also launched a program called Lockdown Challenge 2020 to inspire young entrepreneurs during the COVID-19 pandemic. And one startup in particular here, which was founded in 2020, NagaEd, really stands out because it's the first Nagaland startup ever to raise FDI, that's foreign direct investment. One of the startup's co-founders, Kevisato Sanya, said in an interview with Your Story, to imagine that India receives upwards of $64 billion a year in FDI and not even 1 rupee goes to Nagaland really states the situation our state is in now. This round is really about changing the narrative of Nagaland. Tribes can create businesses with robust models with the compliances required to procure FDI. They raised this pre-seed round in March of 2022 from companies based in Australia and Singapore, as well as some local investors as well, and they're using this capital to expand the scope of their B2B edtech platform. This platform enables schools to affordably go digital with features like teacher training, analytics for teachers to track the performance of students, and of course, content for students like videos, courses, assignments, and quizzes. So now we're finally going to move into Startup India's leaders category. This category is reserved for states that have been continuously working towards building an effective startup ecosystem, and the first one we're going to mention here is Arunachal Pradesh. So Arunachal Pradesh has established a seed fund and an innovation fund mechanism for startups to take advantage of, and they're also providing advisory support for and encouraging the creation of entrepreneurship cells in higher education institutes. Now, the startup that I want to highlight from this state is called Naara Aaba, and you may or may not have heard of this company, but what you probably have heard of is the Zero Valley, widely known for its annual Zero Festival of Music. And it's in this same valley that Naara Aaba is headquartered, specifically in Hong Village. But what does Naara Aaba actually do? Well, they make wine. And it's not just any kind of wine. This is pure organic kiwi wine. And back in 2016, many of the kiwis that farmers were growing in the Zero Valley were actually going to waste because market demand in India for Arunachal Pradesh kiwis was less than market supply. And that's where the company's founder, Tagerita, spotted an opportunity. She started selling this unique exotic wine in 2017 and has since expanded the scope of her production to include wild apple wine, plum wine, and pear wine too. All right, so next up we have another state in the leaders category, Assam. Now, Assam has done a lot to foster entrepreneurship. They're providing incentives and financial assistance to women entrepreneurs. They've conducted outreach programs with academia, investors, and other ecosystem players. They've strategically built a large mentorship network for startups in the state. And last but certainly not least, they've set up the Nest, a state-of-the-art incubator to nurture entrepreneurship. And it's actually a Nest Incubate Tea that we're going to be talking about first, a brick manufacturer startup called Zerund. Now, I know that doesn't sound like an exciting startup category, category, but these bricks are special. Zerund, which is based in Guwahati, Northeast India's biggest city, makes bricks that are earthquake resistant, lightweight, and far more eco-friendly than normal red clay bricks. What's more, 60 to 70% of these bricks are made up of waste products like, for example, recycled plastic, which makes them 45% lighter than normal red bricks and also about 15% cheaper too. So you're probably thinking at this point that this all sounds a little bit too good to be true, right? These bricks are cheaper, lighter, stronger, and more eco-friendly than normal bricks, so why haven't they taken over India yet? Well, they're actually on a path to doing just that. They're still a pretty young company, having been founded in 2018, and the startup claims to have no direct competitors, meaning that they're completely disrupting this industry. They've even raised 7.8 crore rupees in seed capital to aggressively aggregate existing brick factories and outfit them with their patent-pending technology, and are aiming to produce 50,000 bricks a day by the end of 2022, and are also projecting revenue of 11 crore rupees by the end of the financial year of 2023. Okay, so now I want to talk about another company from Assam and take a look at this article from COLKS. A little-known startup turned profitable by staying away from India's Silicon Valley. This is fascinating to me because I think a lot of startups in tier 2 and tier 3 cities that are doing amazing things just don't get the respect that they deserve because everybody just assumes that the founders must not be smart enough to realize that they need to be based in Bengaluru or some other Indian metro in order to be successful. But the reality is that sometimes it's actually better to stay away from all that. High cost of rent, expensive talent, exhausting hustle culture, all of these things can actually diminish a startup's chances of succeeding. And here's another excerpt from that article. They achieve profitability by staying away from venture capital funding. Their customers include Infosys, Wipro, Deloitte, and JP Morgan, and they serve all of these clients from their office in Guwahati. Okay, now I'll spill the beans and tell you the name of the company. It's called Vantage Circle. They've been around since 2011, so a little bit old to be considered a true startup, but in a nutshell, what they offer is SaaS that keeps employees happy. Today, their platform is used by more than 1.8 million employees around the world. They have 6 offices in 5 countries, but in spite of this, a large majority of their employees are still based in Guwahati. They have about 89 people there and are doing roughly $30 million in annual revenue, with 5% of that translating into profit, or about $1.5 million, which isn't bad for a bootstrapped company. They've been able to take a universal idea, this concept of reducing attrition by incentivizing and rewarding employees, and they've turned it into a global SaaS suite. And I think that this is really where Northeast India can shine, because geographically and culturally as well, they are isolated, but the internet makes it possible for Northeastern startups to build for India and also for the world. And now, finally, we have Northeast India's most impressive state when it comes to startups. A top performer alongside states like Gujarat and Karnataka, Meghalaya. To qualify for this category, Meghalaya has had to create a model state startup ecosystem, setting a benchmark for other states to follow. And there are 3 specific ways in which Meghalaya has done this. The first is their efforts to promote entrepreneurship among students, specifically in higher education institutes. The second is the support that they've given to women and grassroots entrepreneurs through the Prime Kickstart grant and also the Innovation Scale-Up Loan. And then finally, Meghalaya offers comprehensive mentorship via Prime Acceleration Coaching. And you're hearing Prime a lot here because this is the Meghalaya government startup program. It's an acronym that stands for Promotion and Incubation of Market-Driven Enterprises. They have a startup hub in Shillong, Meghalaya's capital, as well as Tripura, and more than 278 entrepreneurs have been funded by Prime. They're going above and beyond to foster entrepreneurship in the state, which is why Meghalaya has seen such a flourishing of startup activity recently. Now, there's a ton of companies that I want to talk about here, like, for example, food startup Smoky Jack, Meghalaya's Finest, Dalare Foods, Green Origins, and creative media startup Half in One, but ultimately the company that takes the cake here is COLKS. COLKS was founded in 2015 and is an acronym for Center of Learning, Knowledge, and Services, which does sound a little bit generic, but these are some of the subsidiary brands underneath this parent company. You've got Be Natural, a honey brand with farmer traceability, so all you need to do is scan a QR code and see the farmer that actually made your honey, which is pretty cool. Mad Essentials, which is a brand focused on eco-friendly, toxin-free skincare products. There's In a Box, which is a spice brand, and you've got meat brand Bear and Bones too, which hasn't been launched yet at the time of me making this video, but will presumably be available before the end of 2022. In order to make all of these products, COLKS is working with more than 50,000 farmers. They're bootstrapped and they're profitable too. Now, if you've been keeping track up until this point, then you'll know that we've reached number 10. This is the last company that I'm going to be talking about, and they're also based in Meghalaya. And specifically, this company is a masterclass in building incredible company culture because Chillibreeze is a fun place to work, but more on that later. First of all, let's talk about the problem that they've set out to solve: bad PowerPoints. The idea here, at least initially, was to provide international clients with overnight, personalized, beautiful PowerPoint presentations at an affordable price. This ends up saving the client time, and it also impresses the people that the client is presenting to. And this might seem like a simple problem to be solving, but it's a problem that a lot of people around the world face. By 2011, Chillibreeze was an approved vendor for Microsoft and was expanding its client base around the world. They had found their product market fit. They were bootstrapped and profitable, and so the company's founders, Joanna and Ralph Buttleman, started looking for areas into which they could expand, and they settled on food in 2015. The shape that this venture took was an e-commerce platform for local Meghalayan products like coffee, tea, and dried powders. And through this business, they're empowering local farmers by increasing the visibility of their products. And this is the part of the story where I get into the culture and mission that I was talking about earlier, because Chillibreeze is having an amazing impact on the local Shillong community as well as on the lives of its employees. They set up a food truck selling chicken, they built bamboo huts, they launched a silk business called Muezard, and they even bought an old bus and used it to host local events. Today, Chillibreeze has evolved out of the startup category. They're almost 2 decades old at this point, and they've also stopped doing one-time PowerPoints. Instead, they're a full-blown graphic design as a service company now, offering presentations, motion graphics, and custom designs as a subscription for consulting firms and Fortune 500 companies. And they're still bootstrapped and profitable, all while employing about 200 people. All right, thank you so much for watching this video, and check this one out next. It's about the top 10 made in India electric two-wheeler startups. I really think you'll enjoy it.